Hi, Candy. So nice to have you here today with us. I'm Flavia. I'm the founder here at Aura Collective, and we are meeting with Candy, who is a vocal coach. And we've been talking for quite a while now about your work and how to introduce it to our community. It's definitely something that I've been very much looking forward to because myself, I have done some work with my voice and I've felt the effects of actually using this tool to reconnect with my body. And we'll talk about everything holistic health and how the voice is an important component of health as well. But maybe let's start with you. Do you want to introduce you, and if you can share a little bit about your journey and how you became involved with vocal coaching?
Definitely. Well, I'm so happy to be here and to share this work with our collective community, and it's very much my honor. My journey to being a vocal coach and working with my voice is a very long story. I started singing at the age of 4, and I come from a family of singers, so it was never anything special. It was we sing. That's what we do. And then throughout my life, as I got older, I did love to perform. But I was thinking actually the other day, even when I was young, a young child, I grew up on a farm, on a dairy farm, and I would always go by myself out into the fields and I would just sing to the mountains and sing to the sky. And as a child, you're not really thinking about, oh, I'm doing this. It's really good for my head. It helps to build oxytocin, reduce cortisol. You don't think about those things. I just did it because I needed to relieve some stress, or I liked being out there. It felt free and I could be just completely immersed in my voice and this place. So as I was thinking about that yes, I have quite a performative background, but I also have this experience of this transformative part of the voice and what else it can bring you. It's not just about singing in front of people and being on a stage. I did start formal vocal training at the age of 9. So actually, I can say for 30 years, I've been
Wow.
professionally working with the voice, which seems like a long time. So I am a classically trained singer and then went to university for acting. So I have acting vocal training as well. But then it wasn't really until a little bit later in life, I was working in the theaters, writing my own music. I am a singer-songwriter as well. But I started, of course, finding meditation, finding yoga, and really realizing that, after a yoga practice, how different my voice would be, how grounded my voice would be. And so I started kind of merging all of these worlds together, playing around with different techniques. And this holistic, transformative vocal work is something I've been doing now for about 10 years. And again, oftentimes I think a lot of people may find this similar, that our work can sometimes be gifted to us, like what is needed. And I had a student, this beautiful woman, she was in her 60s, came to me, and she was my first vocal student that wasn't actually a singer or an actor. And she said to me, Kendi, I want to sing. It's my dream to be in a musical. And there was like a community musical, community theater, and she wanted to audition. But she said, I've never sang. She actually was, she was a nurse, and she's like, I never ever sang. I was told I didn't have a good voice, so I stopped doing it. And it was actually through working with her, the gift that she brought to me of being so open and brave, of, hey, I want to do this thing and now I'm retired and I can do it, but I'm afraid, that it really, then I began to utilize all of these different techniques of the acting training, the yoga and meditation, to be able to really deeply get to the voice, to kind of do this uncovering, which we'll definitely talk about a little bit more later.
Mm,
And
mhm.
then once I moved to Berlin, I began to work more with with vocal coaching, vocal training, and it's just been beautiful. I've had a range of students coming to me, from people who are opera singers to people who come to me and they say, I cannot even open my voice to speak.
Mm.
And so every day in my work, I learn something new of seeing what people need, of what they're bringing, and then developing this nourishing and very supportive work instead of, here are those notes, run those scales. It is more of a meditation. It is more of this going into the self, going into the body, like you had said before, and then feeling this voice rising out of you. And so it's been so beautiful and so exciting. And I really, like I said, 30 years into vocal work, and I still learn something new every day, whether it's about my voice or the voice in general. And so this is when I find this work to be, yeah, I'm very passionate about it,
Mm.
obviously.
It's very rewarding, I'm sure, also to be working with people one on one and exploring um, their current relationship and their evolving relationship with their
Mm,
voice. And as you spoke, I was thinking about um, how we are very much trained from, or the majority of people are trained from early childhood to be careful about
mm,
what one says or expresses and not to be too loud and to
yeah,
um, so there's a lot of people that I encounter also through my work that I find are blocked with their voices because they've been educated this way to be polite, to be
yeah,
soft spoken.
mm,
And it's really incredible to witness the change that can occur in people when they work with their voice to
mm,
also um, really reach new depth of communication and expression. So
definitely.
yeah, yeah, that's so interesting. What are the core principles and philosophies that guide your approach to voice and to sound work?
Well, the first one has always been that the voice is more than the vocal cords and the lungs. It is our body in and out in its entirety. It was the great Alfred Wolfson. He was an amazing, very forward-thinking vocal practitioner of the 20th century. He said, to know the human is to know the voice, and so to really honor that all of us, we're instruments,
Mm,
and I find that to be so beautiful that you see a cello or a harp, and it's so lovely, but we are an incredible instrument that has just unbelievable possibility. And then also another core principle is that the work that singing is transformative. It's not only performative. And that when we take it off the stage and take it from, oh, the singer and holding people up to bringing it back down to something for everyone, because we all have the capability of singing, that this is when we can begin the transformative work. Very much
mm,
so.
I love to hear that because I think it's very encouraging for people to move away from this preconceived idea that singing has to be perfect or it has to be learned in a very academic way. Um,
Hmm.
and I find it fascinating to witness people who use their voice in a non-conventional way, but are so expressive in their communicating
Yeah.
their inner landscapes through their
Mm,
voice.
that's
So
beautiful. Yeah, the inner landscape. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah. It's said that when we speak, we usually speak between like 4 to 6 tones. So the tonation, it's very small if you just like, envision a piano. And that also the singers, we are taught usually to have about a 1.5 octave range to a 2 octave range. So that's about 12 tones, 16 tones. But in reality, and this is what I find to be so exciting, is that we have the possibility in our voice to have an 8 octave range, so 64 tones. And again, it's not saying that all of these tones are beautiful, because they're not. But the fact that you and me and all of us can make them, that we have the capacity and the possibility and the ability to make all of these amazing tones, to, I love what you said, this inner landscape, to express our inner landscape, and to, whether that's how we're speaking or whether we're emoting joy, despair, speaking your wisdom, you're yelling, please be careful, or reciting a poem or singing a song. There is so much possibility. And when you realize the possibility that is within the voice, then you realize all of the possibilities that are within yourself. And
Mm.
that's when I believe things start to open up and we uncover this whole new way of being. And it's amazing. It's amazing what can be felt.
It's fascinating. And you briefly touched upon it earlier, but can you talk a little bit about the science behind singing and what happens in our brains when we are using our voice?
Definitely. Well, there has been so much research done, which is great that now we have this research to back us up, that when you sing, our level of cortisol, the stress hormone, and our adrenaline drops. And oxytocin, the love hormone, begins to increase. And so, I mean, immediately, I think that's why if you sing with a group of people, whether you're watching your favorite band play, and in the concert, everybody's singing, all of a sudden you feel like we're a part of something. This is
Mm,
amazing. And you think then, you go back in time, and human beings have been singing together
mm,
since time immortal. It's how we worshiped together. We did
mm,
rituals together. It was, making a step from into adulthood. People grieving, they would sing together. We need the rain. We have to sing together
mm,
because there is community that's created and power between one another. And science is seeing that it is probably because of these oxytocin levels going up, cortisol going down. Also, singing, like other art forms, balances our brain because we utilize both sides of the brain.
mm,
So that's also why you feel a lot more balanced after you're done singing. Of course, you're bringing in a lot more air into your body. So you have a deeper oxygen. And then also that exhale is a lot longer. And I'm sure if you just hum a note or sing ah, you realize, oh, I have a lot of air in here. I can make a really long sound. And so that is also, science is showing that it helps with lung capacity. It helps with, if you have asthma, singing, it builds up the lungs. So it's everything from mental health to physical health, our hearts, the oxygen in our bodies. And then we can talk about vibrations and vibrational healing, which sound healing, it's such an awesome, exciting field that's
mm,
really rising. And I love all sound healing. I mean, even when you just are around somebody playing the piano, you feel those vibrations. But when you make the vibrations in yourself, that is just tenfold, because here you are vibrating. We're water. We are water. You're vibrating the waters of your being, going up and down your bones. And actually, I do a lot of vocal meditations, and people say I can't even, like, my arms are, I don't even, where are my arms? Because everything just relaxes so much through that vibration. And that, of course, is, now we know these vibrations are healing and this inner resonance that we feel. So
that's
we're this
beautiful.
healing instrument. It's so
It
cool.
is. And I mean, you touched upon so many topics that I find fascinating. First, the power of being in community. And I'm
Mm.
thinking about even just like the quantum field, what happens in the quantum field when we are singing together, which is a whole other conversation we can probably have.
Yeah.
But also coming back to the more, I was just thinking about it the other day about, especially here in Europe, the loss of connection with uh, community in a ritualistic way, in the
Yeah.
sense that, I mean, I was looking at it from the perspective of psychedelics, so it's completely different. But
Yeah.
I was just trying to figure out um, when was our story wiped out of being together in community, except from in religious rites, etc., but like outside of it, in pagan cultures, or um, just also
Yeah,
just community culture, we have kind of lost touch of this power of coming together and expressing
very
ourselves.
much,
And
very
um,
much so.
so very interesting
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah, yeah, and I actually I see it even. So I also offer, I do these prenatal singing circles, which are so
Beautiful.
beautiful. And I see the bond that is created. I mean, after 10 minutes of singing together, all of a sudden everyone is there. We're there holding one another, supporting each other. Friendships are made. And I mean, it's so fast. It's so fast.
Mm,
And it's yeah, just the joy and the love that is exuded when we sing together. It's so important. And yeah, to figure out a way to bring that back. And I'm seeing, at least here, I'm living in Berlin, I'm seeing a resurgence of circles and ceremonies and
mm,
singing. And of course, in the yoga tradition, there's so many more kirtan and mantra singing happening now. And it's only for the good. I mean,
mm.
you can
I
never sing
mean,
too much. You really cannot.
I've been practicing Jivamukti yoga for as long as I was in Berlin, only because of the singing. I think I hated the practice because it was way too fast
It
and
was tough.
way too tough. But I knew that at the end of every
Mm,
class, we would come together and sing. And I remember just the emotions coming up in my body. And as you say, feeling my body vibrate in a way that is so different from what I'm used to. And viewing my body as an instrument.
yeah.
Wow. So powerful.
I love knowing that about you, that you went to Jivamukti just to sing. How
Just to
beautiful.
sing. And actually, I mean, it's on my to-do list, of all the things that I want to do, with pottery, singing, boxing. I just have to find a way of integrating that more in my life. And I guess with every new habit you want to build, you have to build on it slowly. So I really hope that our class will reignite that
Yeah, me
passion,
too.
and
Me too.
and finally lead me to a class or something. But yeah, so I guess my next question was about when we consciously use our voice on us personally, but also professionally, I guess for professional communication. What is your take on that?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a very great question. I think personally, you have to remember that no one else in this world sounds like you. Our voice is as unique as our fingerprint. And so when you speak, and you speak from a depth that's deep inside you, and after this uncovering of the voice and unearthing of your voice, you you speak more in your power. You speak your truth. There's more of authenticity. Also, if I change, I can speak shallow, like more in a shallow way and not in my voice. And you may not feel as though I'm as authentic, or you don't feel as sure, you know. So, hi, my name's Kendy,
Mm,
and it's really nice to be here. It's very different than when I say, hi, I'm Kendy. It is so wonderful to be here today.
mm,
It's hard for me to hide myself when I speak from my core. And so I think a personal development, when we're talking so much in these days about setting your boundaries, speaking your truth, and us needing those beautiful truths to be spoken, they come from and are supported by what is this voice that is living inside of us if we allow it to arise from us. And the world needs it because we're the only ones that make this sound like we do. You know what I
mm.
mean? Like you are
Yeah.
you're the only Flavia who sounds like that. It's beautiful. And then professionally, I work a lot with I mean, all different professions, but I mean, for example, if you are teaching a yoga class and you are doing this deep work, but also learning to sustain your voice, then you're able to speak all day and give the same quality of class that you did at the beginning, that you did at the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Professionally, maybe before you didn't want to speak up when there was something you disagreed with at the company, or you felt like you're not being heard. This work, it changes people. It has transformed people so much that a student of mine was like, "Yeah, I'm going to sell my business," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, oh no, maybe I should.
Oh,
But
now you're
she couldn't be
responsible for.
happier. I know sometimes I should put like a disclaimer, like if you make any large decisions, this is not. But it is because I think when you begin to do transformative vocal work, you start to realize what it is that you really desire, what it is that you need, who you are as a person, and you become empowered by it. It's really fascinating. But yeah, so there is a disclaimer for anyone who takes this class. If it change your life and it doesn't work out, please don't put it. But
I
usually it does. That's the thing.
I actually had a situation like this with a client a few years ago where we discussed her very unhappy career in corporate and in one session. And the next session, she came back and she was like, "That's it, I quit." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So she's become one of my employees since then because,
It's amazing though.
oh
It's
my God.
amazing. It's amazing.
But yeah, so it really can transform the way you show up, both personally and professionally. And
Mm.
as you mentioned, setting boundaries, learning to that you can voice your boundaries, you can voice the limits you want to set
Yeah.
for yourself. This is extremely powerful, and I really believe that it can happen through vocal work because,
Yeah.
I mean, I was just listening to you speaking and just the tone of your voice, which is very, I wouldn't say it's like a mixture between being soft but also like assertive. It's really
Mm.
grounding, and um, I feel like that the tone of my voice has been changing throughout our interview just by listening to you and
Mm.
attuning to your frequencies, which is very interesting to observe.
Yeah, it is. That's beautiful.
What was the most memorable project or collaboration that you've had through your project, Open Voice Berlin, and the
Oh my
impact
gosh.
that it might have?
Well, I have a very beautiful collaboration ongoing with Christina Lobe, who is an Anusara yoga instructor, and she teaches yoga teachers. And it was actually she was the first person to invite me to come into a yoga teacher training to do the vocal portion of the work. And I think that's a beautiful collaboration to also, it's work that um, allows the students, well, the teachers and the students, because they're the same, to really be able to find that when they say something, how you say it really does matter, and the meaning, and being able to really get down to the words that you choose that are also part of your truth. Um, I find that to be, yeah, really a very fruitful collaboration that I've loved. It's ongoing now for 5 years.
Wow.
And then also I started doing a weekend vocal seminar, which is in this Klang Dome, a sound dome in the north of
Mm.
Germany. And that is 2.5 days of singing. And it's an incredible experience. What happens with everyone, just how the group dynamic forms, but there's inevitably tears, laughter. It's like we go through like the range of emotion in a very natural way. It's just you realize how much you can open up when you sing, very supported for, that amount of time. So that's another project that I have, a new project that I've going with this seminar that it's also, I mean, the cool thing about this being my work and me being the instructor is that I get to sing all the time too. And so I do feel these effects. And if I either take it to work on for the future, or maybe that one isn't as powerful or isn't what we need at that time, but then I can also see how much joy and how fulfilled I am after a day of teaching. And it's just like, and here we go. And that's what singing does. It's energizing. It brings you joy. It allows you to really, we're carrying a lot as modern humans. And when you sing in this way, you could just start everything that just starts to go away. It just drops from your shoulders,
Mm,
clears from your mind. I sometimes call it like a active vocal meditation, because
mm,
that is what it feels like. And it's yeah, I just feel in this moment, um in the times that we're living in, like, we can't have too much nourishment. I really think that being, finding ways to really support ourselves,
mm,
um, there aren't too many. I love
mm,
them all, but I do find that singing, especially this active vocal meditation, has been just also life changing again for me, who sings all the time. So I know that people that come that have not been singing, all of a sudden it's just wow, it's life
mm.
changing, and it's so
Yeah,
simple, and you can do it anywhere at any time. You
true.
know, it's
Not
so
only in your
cool.
shower.
You can. And I mean, the car, if you drive, there's no better place to sing, in my
To
opinion.
sing, I mean, that's my place to go, I lock myself up in the car. No, it's really interesting, and what's coming up for me is as well, you were talking about this weight being lifted off your shoulders.
Mm,
It's made me think about how using the voice in a way is a very somatic sort of
mm,
experience as well, because it does lift um, weight off of your shoulders by expanding your lungs and bringing more attention towards your lungs. You're also working on the energetic fields of like
mm.
lungs are very often connected in traditional Chinese medicine with sadness and grief, and being
Yeah.
able to work on this um, can probably also help you process emotional. Uh,
Yes. And to sound that grief,
mm,
to sing that grief out. When did we stop singing while we were grieving? I mean, it is such it's such a gift that we can allow ourselves to release that grief. I do know this about the lungs and traditional Chinese medicine. I find it to be, I mean, it just makes complete sense that the lungs are associated with this, because also then, even through meditation, when you breathe, how much better you feel. But then when you vocalize it out and allow that energy to release, it's,
that's it. I
yeah.
mean, if you're
It's
not
simple.
sold by now.
Let's sing. Let's
Yeah.
sing.
I was curious because I'm a pretty geeky person and I love
Hmm.
technology, but I see also how technology is changing a lot of the ways we use uh, our innate technologies. And I was just curious to ask you how you see the role of technology in involving the way we use and perceive our voices.
Hmm. Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, when you first hear a recording of your voice and you're kind of shocked, right? You're like, wait, who is that? That's me. Because I hear you differently than you hear yourself, and vice versa. So I think actually with technology, and now we all have, an Android or an iPhone or some kind of phone that we can always make a vocal message. I mean, you can just hear your voice all the time. So we're also becoming a bit more used to hearing how other people hear us, hearing our voice in
Mm,
that way. So yeah, I think that's kind of interesting and also but an exciting part of it. Technology, like if you go into the recording studio, especially if you're going to sing, I mean, the voice can be manipulated in so many different ways, whether, here I am, like down in my little studio, but I could put on some reverb that you guys all think that I'm in like this huge church or hall, it can be manipulated so much in that way, lowered, made high. If you sing and you hit the wrong note, it can be auto tuned up. So I don't know what will happen more with like voice replication or how this will, now you can almost always identify like a more computerized voice. I don't know in the future if that will change. I'm pretty sure it will. um, but yeah, this is a really interesting topic to also then, how do our voices relate, in the technological world? I
Mm.
know even as a singer, and I've created albums, when I hear my voice on that album to, I think like if you hear my voice on the album to then if you come live and hear me sing, even with or without a microphone, it is a different experience. But I need to think more about this question.
Yeah, well, we can come back to it in our class. I
Yeah.
mean, you will be hosting a class to introduce our community to the use of this beautiful technology, which is our voice. Um, and we'll be sharing more about it in the coming weeks. And I'm really, really excited about it because I've been hoping for some time to bring in this tool for our community.
Hmm.
Um, as you know, we've started 4 years ago by creating these classes, recording them, and then having them available via our app, so
Yeah.
that wherever you are on your health and wellness journey, you can access these different tools, and maybe they might not resonate with you right now, but they could um, sprout into a little
Hmm.
new idea for you to explore in a couple of months, in years, who knows? But just to bring more awareness around these topics. We've talked about the benefits on the body, on the brain, and again, I'm really excited about being able to have you with us for this class. But for anyone listening in on this chat we're having today, for someone that is just starting to explore their voice, what is your advice or practices that you would suggest to help them unlock this new potential?
Two things. It's how I begin every session. One is you get to lay down on your back and place your hands on your belly and begin to breathe into your diaphragm, feeling that expansion, feeling this lower breathing apparatus that naturally, when we're babies, that's how we breathe. Over time, we begin to breathe more shallow. But if you can unlock that breath and then begin to connect with that breath, immediately transformation happens. I mean, this isn't like a 6-week program. This is like, I'm telling you, 5 minutes, you're in. And then also adding a hum, a very gentle hum. It's very simple. Humming is known, it activates the vagus nerve, but also through humming, you can hum a low tone, a high tone, whatever feels comfortable for you. Keep that jaw relaxed, your lips closed, and then see if you can feel the vibrations on your lips and your chest. You can move your voice up and down if you want, play around, but really deep breathing and a simple hum. I mean, it's the basis to the work, and it's so rejuvenating and incredible. And again, science is showing that humming is like one of the easiest regulators that we can do for ourselves. So I would suggest to everyone, after you're done watching this, lay down, breathe, and hum. And then we'll go from there.
And
And we'll
I
build
and
it
I
up.
I really hope you'll guide us through the exercise of breathing through the diaphragm, because I have some theater training as well. And I
Yeah.
remember this being one of the first exercises we learned to do, to breathe with the diaphragm in order to um, carry our voices very far in the audience as well.
Yeah.
But I remember how difficult it was for me to connect with this breathing.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really hoping that this will be something that you'll teach us during
Yes,
the class.
definitely. We'll be doing a lot of breath voice connection exercises for sure. For
And
sure. You'll feel
what
it.
yeah, and what can people look forward to during the class?
I believe you can look forward to not only to having the moment to feel your voice and relish in the vibration of your voice, but we're going to do a lot of work of releasing, opening that jaw and just feeling your voice radiating out into the universe. I mean, it's the truth, right? And it will continue on and on and on. But it is the work is meditative, but at the same time, it's energizing, it's nourishing, balancing, clarifying. I always tell people after a session, like, always have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen ready. Do free writing once you're done singing because the creative vibrations are moving through you. And people do find that they can write poems or they have these ideas
Wow.
that come to them because of this clarification. So have yourself set up. No judgment when
Yes.
you're writing, just go for it. And yeah, just allow yourself to release and do this extremely human act. I mean, it's something that's so beautifully special about the human species is we have these these voices within us that we can express our desires, needs, our wisdom. And yeah,
So yeah,
I'm
for,
so excited to offer this to your community and to yeah, hear about people's singing experiences and allow them
me
to
too.
enjoy their voices.
Very excited about this class. Be ready to release perfectionism because
Yeah.
nobody will be hearing you. So
Yeah.
you'll be doing your own practice, guided by Candy, and you'll be able to explore in your own four walls without having to feel watched or heard.
Mm,
And yeah, I really hope it will inspire people to and reconnect to their creativity. As you said, it's a
yeah.
deeply uh, creative, enhancing activity. So
Yeah, and it's singing in itself is a creative act. And
mm,
speaking too, if you think about it.
mhm, true,
So,
true.
yeah.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much for this beautiful chat.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to sharing this episode with our community, and we'll see you very soon. Thank
Yes, I look
you.
forward. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.